That's what I need.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Of course, on the internet.
Yeah, on the interwebs.
Yeah.
Okay, well, welcome everyone, temple touring people. We are continuing our homecoming chats reunion series with Tristen Noble.
Hi.
And we're wanting to just see how you've been this last year, which you just got home.
Yeah.
Like within this last month.
Yeah, like 4 weeks ago.
Like 4 weeks ago. Yeah, which is so awesome. So there's not like, hey, what have you been up to this last year? Because, well, you've been teaching the gospel to people for the last year.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. That's why we're here. And I wanted to welcome you home, first of all.
Thank you.
Welcome to our reunion. And just see how you're doing. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, 4 weeks being home. I just started a new job at the 𝐷𝚘 in Provo.
𝐷𝚘. I
The
do that
𝐷𝚘
too.
in Provo.
𝐷𝚘.
So yeah, I started working there, and then planning on going back to school in the fall at UVU, and
Okay, what are you doing at the 𝐷𝚘?
okay. Okay.
What are you front desk?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm one of the front desk people.
So now you can be like, hey girl,
yeah,
you gonna let me and my friend in?
Yeah, come see me.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. And what are you going back to school for?
Right now my major is English.
Okay.
And I'm gonna stick with that. Kind of see if that's what I still want to do. I really liked it before the mission.
Okay.
I just don't know if that's like the career path I want to choose. There's a few things you can do with an English major, and so
it's not like a philosophy major where you sorry.
No
so
offense.
sorry.
But yeah, so I'm like gonna go back and see if that's still the path that I want to continue on.
Okay.
But I really liked it before the mission, so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So like, you want to teach English?
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not against teaching English. I just know that's like what I want to do. Because like when I was in high school and all that kind of stuff, my favorite teachers were always my English teachers.
Right.
And so I loved it.
Makes
and I
sense.
loved like reading. I like signed up. It was like the same. I signed up for a Shakespeare class 2 years in a row. And it was like the same class like that I took just twice because I liked it.
I get that. I kind of did the same thing.
So,
yeah.
So I wouldn't like mind teaching English. It just would be like, okay, is that what I want to do? Is that what God wants me to do?
Sure.
Like go back and figure it out.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's kind of the spot I'm at.
All right. That's a good spot to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Figuring stuff out.
Mhm.
It's good. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. Okay, so last time we talked, we found out that you had served in three missions. Two.
The last time. Yeah.
Okay. I can count. One of them being Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Which was completely different than the Dominican Republic.
Yes.
I don't know if you know that. They're kind of like on different parallels as far as that goes.
It was a little colder.
A little bit. Maybe not as prepared for that weather as opposed to what you were called to do.
Yeah. Well, like, because I was called to a tropical island.
Yes.
And instead, I went to the winter of Wisconsin.
Yeah, which
is like they throw out water and it freezes in the air. And I was like, what the heck am I doing here? What is going on?
My sandals, I can't feel my toes.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not working for me.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to like have aunts and uncles live close, and they brought me clothes and that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
it wasn't too bad. And then,
so that, at least there was that, because
Yeah.
it happened really abruptly because of COVID, right?
Well, it was because of my visa.
Oh, that's right.
So
visa.
beforehand, it's because my
Right.
visa was like didn't go through. It just wasn't ready.
Right.
And so I got visa weighted in Wisconsin.
Right.
So
Right.
it was like a 3-day, because I didn't know, because my visa could have gone through while I was in the MTC as well. And so like the last 3-4 days is when I found out. You're going to Wisconsin, and they didn't tell you like where you're gonna go either.
It's not like Disneyland.
It's like another call. You're like, okay, and it's not as fun.
No, it's not. I would rather go to the Dominican Republic personally. So.
It was fun though. Like I had a lot of good experience. Like my companions in Wisconsin, I love them. Still talk to them. They're awesome.
See?
And like I was glad that I ended up there first. So
yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
It
was
good.
necessary. Like,
God's plan.
Yeah, absolutely. There was totally a reason. We
Yeah.
know that there was a reason for it. You know, we may not see it.
In the
through
moment.
the cold with a coat on. You know, we may not see it, but that's okay. So tell us about the DR. Tell us about the Dominican
Okay,
Republic.
I was there for 2.5-ish weeks, like 2 weeks, and we got shut. Like after the first day and a half was like regular proselyting, and then churches got shut down.
Right.
And it was odd because when I was in Wisconsin, obviously you don't like have the internet, you don't have like the technology and access to what's going on. So like we heard COVID, we heard like this kind of stuff.
Pandemic.
We're like, oh, so it's like a flu, whatever. Like we're just like whisperings of whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I get to the DR and like then church gets shut down and I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah, it's like terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, that's never happened before.
Yeah, and so then we were just like, okay, and then we got put inside because of political reasons, because elections were happening.
Right.
And then we just never came back out because of COVID. So we got put in political, and then COVID, and then we got sent home.
And then didn't they shut everything down like the day after you left? Isn't that what? I remember that. Did I not remember that? I may not.
They didn't like shut everything down. It was like a couple. It was like a week after I left.
Oh, okay.
Is when they were like
so
shutting.
pretty close.
But it was like
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I literally had like a day and a half of regular proselyting, and then got put inside, and then like
this
and
is
then,
the gospel. See you later.
Yeah, and then like literally it was like, okay, well, I guess we're preaching from our porch, or like I don't even know. And so we literally got put inside, and because of election stuff for like 3 days, and they're like, okay, you can go back out. Okay, no, don't go back out. And so literally we got like, we're just inside because of COVID.
Yeah.
Like, go get food, you're staying inside.
Yeah.
And then very quickly they told us we were going home, because we found out in like an email that we were going home on a P day. And we like called and we're like, okay, so do we need to start packing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you maybe clue us in just a
Yeah.
smidgen?
They're like, what do you mean? Like, when are we going home? Do we need to start packing? Like, what do we need to do?
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's okay. Like, 2 weeks. It's long. It'll be a long
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
And we get a call like 30 minutes later. Okay, so it might be a little sooner than that. So like 3 days, you might want to start packing. They call like 30 minutes later. The bus is coming to get you in 3 hours. Clean out your entire apartment.
Oh my gosh.
Make it spotless.
Oh my gosh.
Pack all your stuff.
Oh
You're
my
going home.
gosh.
It was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Like all happening in the same day, and so.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved the Dominican Republic. Like I just love the people of the DR and all that kind of stuff. Like that mission will always have a special place in my heart because it was my original call, and so I loved the islands even for the 2.5 weeks I was there. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness.
And you
What
got
a
to go
place.
back. Did you get to serve in the same area that you left?
I never got to go back to the Dominican Republic.
Okay. Tell us what the heck happened.
So after coming back from the Dominican Republic, I was home for 3 months.
Okay.
And so I spent 3 months at home, and I got reassigned to the California Riverside mission.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I went out to the California Riverside mission June 26th,
Okay.
and then spent an entire year there. And then like when I first went in, there was a mission president, and then it switched to a new mission president. So by the end of my mission, I had 4 mission presidents. And so that
One
was
girl, 2 missions,
fun. 3 missions now.
3 missions,
Yeah.
4 mission presidents.
It was a lot. It was a lot of change.
me too.
And then I was never, even in California, I was never in an area for more than 2 transfers. So I spent 2 transfers in like my first area, 2 transfers in my second, 2 in my third, and then 2 in my last.
Oh,
So
my word.
it was a lot of moving around. I was a very
Yeah.
nomadic missionary, but I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah.
So
Got to meet a lot of people.
yeah, and change was good for me. Like it like made me motivated and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it was like totally
Kept
fine
you
with
moving.
me.
Yeah,
So
kept you fluid.
God knew. Yeah. So I went out June 26th, and my first area was a place called Moreno Valley.
Uh-huh.
I was English speaking in Moreno Valley.
Okay.
And I did another 7 weeks of training. So at this point, I already had 8 weeks of
A
training.
lot of training. A lot more than
Wait,
normal. Yeah.
honestly, too much. Too much training. Honestly,
yeah.
I love my trainer, and when I was in that area, and she knows I love her, but she would also agree that it was too much training.
She's like, I've got nothing else to teach you, hon.
And then also, like, I came in, and she thought I was a brand new trainee,
Oh.
and so
she thought you were freshy fresh.
and she was like, oh, like I thought I was getting a newborn, and you came out walking and talking toddler, and I was like. Sorry.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know what to tell you.
She was like, you were like a 7-year-old. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. So I spent, and that transfer was actually an extended transfer. So it was an extra week. So it was 7 weeks instead of 6 weeks.
Dude, you're
So I was like 15 weeks into training by the time I was officially done with training, and I was like, I'm so sick of this. Get me out of training.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I spent 2 transfers there, and then I went to a place called 𝚑𝚑𝚒. Spent 2 transfers there.
Okay.
Had my bike stolen there. That was crazy transfer. My roommate got COVID, but none of the rest of us got COVID. She was just quarantined by herself in her room, the poor thing. And then there's a few like hospital visits there, like with another. Oh my goodness, not me, another roommate, but. And then I went to Temecula.
Okay, I know Temecula.
Temecula is nice.
Yeah.
Temecula is like the nice, really bougie part of my mission.
That's for Carrie Gom right there.
Yeah.
She knows.
So it was a really, really nice Temecula, Murrieta, that whole area. So we covered Murrieta and that kind of stuff. And the ward there, the bishopric there, like it was all, that whole ward is like family. Basically the bishop's wife was Dominican and her whole like family was in the ward. So
cool.
we would go over to the bishop's house to eat. They'd always give us Dominican food and like all that kind of stuff. And I was like,
kind of there, but not really there.
Yeah, I got my piece and it was awesome. So, and then I went and served in Ontario for my last 2 transfers.
Gosh, girl. Oh my gosh. Just all over the place.
Yeah.
Just all over the place.
I was flying.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so like, because I crashed your homecoming, which I did, I'll admit, you
didn't crash it.
I was happy to be there.
You can't crash an open invitation.
Well, that's true. Okay, but I was just happy to be sitting right there, and I didn't know we were going to be sitting on the front row, and here I am smack dab in front of the pulpit, and I'm like, yay, I'm so happy. You said so many wonderful things, and the experiences that you shared from your mission, like, it kind of mind-blowing to watch you stand up there and just how freaking awesome you are. Like, and it's not that you are completely different from the last time we visited it. There's multiple syllables in that word. But I noticed your growth, and I was sitting there and I was just in awe of how well spoken you are, how capable and articulate and just all around beautiful you are, and just I was so impressed and so in awe of who you became and who you are becoming. So I just
thank you.
To share that.
I'm not gonna tear up, so nice try.
I was so close.
I was like sucking it back, but I can feel it. Thank you so much. That's like what every missionary would like to hear, right? That you like grew and learned from your mission.
Absolutely. Well, and you reminded me of some things that, like, I taught them as a missionary. I remember teaching them, but then you go through these trials and you start to, as the further away you get from teaching those things, the harder it is to remember them and put them into practice. And so don't go there, don't do that. Don't follow my example, but like, just, I needed that reminder of those true and foundational principles that you shared, and I really appreciate that. Your mission president shared the symphony with you, and I want you to tell these folks about the symphony, because that was probably one of the most profound analogies I've ever heard. So
I would love to. Okay, so one of the things that my mission president was really, really big on was teaching us and helping us as missionaries to teach people how to, one, feel the Spirit, and then how to recognize the Spirit. And he's like, man, if there's one thing I could teach, it would be that. Because if people know and feel and know how to recognize the Spirit, then they can be guided through anything. And so he took us through an analogy when we were all together as missionaries for a zone conference. This is just like multi-zone conferences when all the missionaries were together, basically. Right. And he took us through this analogy, and he had us listen to different songs of basically like the orchestra, tabernacle choir, the music, the background, the symphony, the orchestra. And he took us through these songs, and he said, okay, how many of you know what a piccolo sounds like? And you know what? Most of us don't, honestly. As people who are not musically inclined, like me, I was like, I have no idea what a piccolo sounds like. I can tell you, I've heard the word before, but I could not tell you what it sounds like. And so he said, okay, well, I want you to listen to this song, and I want everyone to close their eyes. And I want you to listen to this song, and when you hear the piccolo, raise your hand. And so he plays this song. Obviously, none of us
right?
really know. I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't really know.
It's like a tuba, and you're like, yes, that's the piccolo.
I don't know what the piccolo sounds like. So he says, okay, so most of you didn't get that. I said, yeah, okay, well. He's like, okay, well, let's try this again. let's try this again. This time, I want all of you to keep your eyes open, and I'm going to play this song, and it's going to have a really obvious piccolo. And when I hear the piccolo, when the piccolo is playing, I'm going to raise my hand so you can recognize it. And so he played the music, and when he went, okay, get ready. Okay, here's the piccolo. Do you hear it?
And it's like so high that only dogs can hear it.
Yeah, it's like very, very high. It's like a very high flute is what the piccolo sounds like. Yep, it's very tiny. And so he was like, okay, that's the piccolo. Okay, that's like the spirit. When people are listening to this orchestra, the orchestra is life. There's a lot of distracting noises, there's a lot of different music going on, but we have to be able to hear and recognize the spirit. But we can't recognize that if it's not pointed out to us, if we don't, are unable to ourselves recognize the fact that that is the spirit. A lot of the times, we can, if we're talking about just ourselves. Mm-hmm. If we have a desire to, we can recognize the spirit. The more practice we put into it, the more we can hear it. If I would have been able to figure out what the piccolo was if I had gone and done the research myself, right? Like if I'd researched it on the internet or that kind of stuff, I could have figured it out. But the Google, exactly. But our mission president was kind of doing the role that we were doing as missionaries when we provide those spiritual experiences to recognize and point out the fact that that is the piccolo. And then he said, okay, now I'm going to play some other music, and you're going to hear another sound. It's going to sound very similar to the piccolo, and it's going to be distracting, and you're going to think it's a piccolo, but it's not. And so he played this music, and he says, okay, there's this other sound playing, and we're all kind of like, is that the piccolo? I don't really know. And he said, that's not the piccolo, that's the flute. Don't be distracted by the flute. The flute is Satan, because Satan, Satan is very tricky, very clever, very conniving. He's very good at what he does. And so he's going to take the spirit in the purest form that it is and try to confuse that as close as he can. And so he said, okay, don't be distracted by the flute. I'm going to point out the piccolo again. Okay, that's the piccolo. Okay, now you guys know what the difference is between the flute and the piccolo. Now I'm going to play another song, and I want you guys to all close your eyes and see if you can listen and find the piccolo. And so we did, and this time all of us were able to recognize and find what the piccolo was. And so that's the analogy that our mission president kind of just had us go through of can you hear the piccolo? And that's what he would say afterwards, like when we were in missionary meetings and that kind of stuff, when miracles are happening, he'd go, can you hear the piccolo, guys? Can you hear the piccolo? He'd say, yeah, we can hear the piccolo, President. And so that piccolo is that spirit. It's that that recognition of Christ's voice in our life and the voice of the Holy Ghost, and how we can recognize it with all different kinds of distractions, because we can listen to the orchestra all together, and that's beautiful and wonderful. Life is beautiful and wonderful.
With an orchestra, yeah.
But when we're like able to pick out the piccolo, when we're able to follow that, we are able to know God's guidance. We're able to recognize that, feel that, and know exactly which direction we need to go and what we need to do. So it was a really awesome analogy.
I love it.
Yeah.
Just love it. I had never heard that analogy before, and I'm like, oh, mind blown, completely blown. It was wonderful. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So thank you for sharing that. I want to talk about that more, but I know we don't have a whole lot. Are there any other experiences that you would like to share with the folks at home?
I have a ton of experiences.
I know, right? Like anything from the mission, but anything from when you've been home, or since you've been home. So
since I've been home, I think one of the things that my aunt actually did that was like really, really touching to me was I'm not wearing it now, but she actually got me a little necklace. Mm-hmm. And when I first saw it, I was like, it's a piccolo, because it looked like a little flute. And my aunt got me this little piccolo, like charm necklace piccolo, and I was like, oh my goodness. And she's like, it's a little missionary grown-up CTR ring.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, I'm going to take a picture and send it to my mission president.
Oh, did you?
Oh, I haven't yet. I'm planning on it.
She's going to do that.
Yeah, no, but that was like really touching to me. I was like, oh, it's like a grown-up CTR ring. Make sure to recognize to hear the piccolo.
Yeah.
And whatever
that's
I'm doing.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Way to go, Auntie. Way
Yeah.
to go. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, so you've got things to do in the future. You're going to school, working at the 𝐵𝒂, just killing it as a missionary and homebound girl RM. Gosh dang. And you saw that. I know that you watched the last video. You saw when she was presenting that piccolo analogy, how much she's grown and she's become, and yeah, right. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for joining us and sharing your return with us and being a part of Temple Touring. It means a lot to me.
Aw, thank you. I love it. I was excited because now I can go back and watch it and be like,
You should. You should. You totally should. Yeah. Yeah. So watch the old one and then watch this one, and then you'll be like, yeah.
oh, I did learn something.
I did. I grew. Look at me, a grown girl walking into the mission as a toddler.
Good.
Walking out of the mission like an apostle. Just saying. So,
I know about that.
Yeah. I mean, there's the matter of the priesthood. That's
Baby steps. Baby steps.
you know, you've got eternity.
Yeah,
You've got
it's
eternity.
okay.
Yeah. But thank you again.
Of
And
course.
at some point, I am gonna want to visit with you again and just
Okay.
like, I just think you're wonderful.
I think you're awesome anytime.
Oh, I needed to hear that. And as always, people, please like, share, comment, subscribe, whatever you're watching this on, and let me know that you're there, because yeah, I took a break from temple touring for a little while, not just because of COVID, but because of depression, which
That gets you.
gets you every time. Gets you
Yeah.
every time. And also, I wasn't sure that anybody really cared or was listening out there. So, if you are out there, say hello. And shouldn't it be called a pick
Go
of?
high. That's funny.
You're so funny. You're so funny. So, all right. Well, thank you, everybody, and we will talk with you again later. Okay. Awesome. Okay. This one's a harder one.
To turn off?
Yeah. Okay, it's still going. Nope, that's not it. I pushed the button.
Is it done now?
I think so. Nope, still going. Okay, hold on. No, we did.
Did you just X out?
I don't think so. Okay, no. We did that. No, you're right.
Just the X.
You were totally right. You were absolutely